SIBO, which is the class that we've been doing. And so for the past 4 weeks, we have been talking about the power of consciousness, the power of our consciousness to heal our bodies and to change our lives. By changing our beliefs from limitation, from what we currently have, what we are currently experiencing, instead putting our beliefs and our attention and our thinking into that realm of infinite possibilities, into recognizing that infinite potential is the very ground of beingness itself, that we live in that realm and that is the realm that interpenetrates everything that is. We've talked about recognizing that that is the very nature of life and how that gets us unstuck from what we're experiencing that we may not like, and instead moves us into the creative potential of the universe. We have talked about, in the very beginning, the place to begin is by setting a clear and a firm decision about what it is that we're going to manifest, what it is that we're going to do or be or have. That means we can't hope that it's going to happen, but instead we have to decide that that is what we're going to do. That decision activates that law and changes things. We talked about disidentifying with the problem, disidentifying with our bodies and with the present time, disidentifying with the affairs that are going on in our lives, and that we do that through meditation. We do that through meditation where we disidentify with what is, and instead we move into that realm of infinite potential. That thing that we call the mind of God. That is also the quantum field of all possibilities, which is what Dispenza talks about in this book. We also have talked about using imagery, about seeing ourselves doing or being or having whatever it is that we desire and feeling it and experiencing it as if it's happening now, and then asking ourselves questions like, what kind of choices will I be making when I'm living that life? What kind of decisions will I be making? How will I be acting? What will I be doing? So you can actually feel that life that you're wanting as if it's already happening right now. And then we release that visualized prayer, which is what it is, into that intelligence of the universe that already knows how to orchestrate that perfectly for you in your life. And then last week we talked about changing our feelings in order to change our lives. We talked about how the law responds to feelings more powerfully than anything else. We also talked about how feelings, when we have a particular feeling or we are in a particular mood, how that initiates a whole series of thoughts that come after that, that match that mood or that match those feelings, and that then reinforces a particular way of thinking. So we talked about, for instance, if we are irritated, that sets in motion a whole series of thoughts about how irritating all these different things are in our lives. Or if we are in a mind frame and a feeling tone of worrying, that we start worrying and thinking, oh my gosh, what if this happens and what am I going to do? It's this whole set of thoughts that continue after that feeling. And that just creates the feeling some more and some more of the thoughts, and it perpetuates itself. That the same thing is true if we are happy or if we are in appreciation. It sets in motion all these positive thoughts and how that lifts us up and opens us to the potential of the universe. We also talked about how using that imagery that we talked about, the natural result of seeing ourselves in that life that we want brings forward feelings of gratitude, brings forward feelings of excitement and of enthusiasm and of hope and of relief. And all those are the feelings that we were talking about, how they are activated by the law in a stronger way than just thinking, drawing those things, the good that we desire, to us in our lives. All of those things help us manifest the things that we want to manifest in our lives. And so Albert Einstein said that everything is energy. And quantum physics tells us that everything is energy and intelligence, or energy and information. Quantum physics, when they look at an atom, they see that it is 99.99999% space. And that space is what we call consciousness. That space is that energy and intelligence, that thing that we call the mind of God. Quantum physics says everything exists simultaneously in an infinite array of possibilities or probabilities within the invisible and infinite quantum field of energy. Everything exists already as possibility, but it takes an observer in order to collapse that infinite wave of possibility into a particle of actuality. It takes an observer, it takes a chooser, it takes a decision maker, it takes putting your attention or focus on something to collapse that into actuality. But it's all available. That's exactly what we teach here in Science of Mind. And so at Centers for Spiritual Living, we call that consciousness mind. We call it God. And we teach that our outer life mirrors our consciousness, that our outer life mirrors our vibration or our feeling tone or our energy, and what we have embodied as reality, what we've embodied as truth, that this law of correspondence responds to that, and our outer life reflects that which is going on inside of us, that vibration. And so Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind speaks to this. He says, spirit is ready to fill everything because it is infinite. So it's not a question of its willingness nor its ability. It is entirely a question of our own receptivity. So our receptivity is what we put our attention on, what we think, our vibrational resonance, what we feel. That is what draws to us what we have in our lives. And so we draw to us that which we believe and that which matches our vibration. And so we all have things that we'd like to have in our lives. Maybe you would like to manifest a new job or to shift the job that you have, some particular aspects of it. Maybe you desire to have better health or greater financial abundance or more peace in your life or peace in your relationship or peace in the world. The problem is, and that Joe talks about in this book, is that we tend to think the same thing over and over and over again, day after day after day. We tend to feel the same thing day after day over and over again. We tend to do the same things that we do day after day after day. And what happens, because we are thinking and feeling and doing the same things, we create the exact same vibration in our beingness, so we tend to create the same exact thing that we created yesterday and the day before and the day before, and that keeps us from creating change in our lives. And so in The Placebo, he talks about that, and I'm going to read a little piece to you. He talks about that mental rehearsal, that imagining and that visioning. He says, mental rehearsal is certainly not idle daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is in a very real sense the way you can intentionally manifest your desired reality, including a life without pain or disease. By focusing more on what you want and less on what you don't want, you can call into existence whatever you desire and simultaneously fade away that which you do not desire by what you put your attention and your focus on. And so he also says that we create our lives by default as well. He says, if you, as a quantum observer, look at your life from the same level of mind every day, then according to the quantum model of reality, you're causing infinite possibilities to collapse into the same patterns of information day in and day out. Those patterns, which you call your life, never change, so they never allow you to affect change. Because we are thinking and doing the same thing day after day, we continue to create the same thing day after day. And so Dispenza talks about one of the ways to create better health, or to create a better life, or to raise our vibration is to change something. And so he talks about those cells in our bodies as if to imagine that they are like electrical fans. And when we have a lower vibration, it's like less electricity is getting to those fans. And so the fan blades begin to go more slowly. And they begin to start wobbling. And those fans that are all the cells in your bodies start working not in harmony with each other. And the result of that is that your cells don't communicate with each other as well. And as a result of that, there is a breakdown in your body, and the result is dis-ease. Because of that lower vibration creates less of those fans spinning, less electrical charge. And so also that lower vibration creates our lives not functioning as well also. Because if you think about it, when you are in that lower vibration of doing the same thing day after day after day, of feeling the same way day after day after day, of nothing new happening in your life, you begin to kind of feel apathetic. You begin to feel unmotivated. You begin to feel stagnant, and you kind of feel heavy. You can feel that when you're living that kind of life. And so Dispenza talks about that there are actually 3 ways that we can change our energy or that we can raise our vibration. And one of those is to learn something new. And so I've said this before, but they talk about 98% of our thinking is redundant. We've already had that same thought. We just kind of recirculate the same kinds of thinking. But learning something new create some new thoughts in here. When we keep thinking the same thing day after day after day after day, what happens is we are living in the present as if it's the past. We are like projecting the past into this moment where nothing new is happening. And then we just continue to create more of what we had in the past. And so every time we learn something new, we raise our vibration. Think about it. Every single time you learn something new, you start to feel kind of excited. You start to feel energized. You start to feel enthused about life. You start to feel more confident. You start to feel more open. Whether it's taking a new class, you kind of get excited, more open. Whether it's how do you feel when you master a new computer program? Kind of like you're on the top of the world and you have this power and how amazing that is. Or when you learn a new skill, even something like how to fix a toilet that's leaking. Wow, this feeling of accomplishment of something that I've never been able to do before is powerful. It shifts our energy and it makes us vibrate at a higher vibration. We feel more energy, we feel more alive, we feel more enthusiastic about life. We raise our vibration to a place of newness. I've shared part of the story with you, or some of it in a different way, one time that when I was in my late 20s and I bought my house, I had a girlfriend who was really good at doing all that stuff, and fixing things and changing things, but instead of doing them, she taught me how to do it. And so I learned how to install the deadbolts in my house. And I learned how to do drywall in my garage. And I learned how to use the power drill with the screwdriver and put screws in. And oh my gosh, I'd never done that. It was so exciting and so much fun. She also taught me how to change my headlights in my car and how to change my windshield wipers. I felt so good after doing those things, so filled with energy and so confident and so alive. Every time we learn something new, that's what happens for us. And so one of those ways to raise our vibration is simply by learning something new. We also raise our vibration every time we do something new that we've never done before. Every time we travel to a new place, every time we have a new experience, it makes us again feel more alive and more energetic and more enthusiastic about life. And so he speaks to this, and he says, if you were to take your attention off of your body and all of the people, things, and events arising at different times and places in your external environment, letting go of time for a moment. As the quantum observer, you would be removing your energy from your familiar life and investing your awareness in the unknown field of possibilities. Since where you place your attention is where you place your energy, then if you keep placing your awareness on your known life, which is when we keep doing the same things that we've done every day, your energy is invested in that familiar life. But if you were to invest your energy in something new, if you were to invest your energy in the unknown field of possibilities beyond space and time, and you instead became a conscious thought, you'd be drawing a new experience to yourself. When we do something new, we're taking our attention off of what we already know and what has already been and what we are continuing to repeat and do and do and do and do over and over again into a new realm of possibilities. And so in this book, he tells a story in this chapter about a girl named Lori who developed a rare degenerative bone disease. And that bone disease caused her bones to swell and to weaken and to fracture. And there was no cure for this disease that she got. That disease began to dominate her life, and she began to feel small and powerless and filled with anxiety and self-pity. That also became her identity, being this person with this bone disorder. And then she met Joe Dispenza, who wrote this book, and started attending his workshops and started doing work with him. And she learned that it was possible to change her thoughts and therefore to change her brain, to change her body and her emotional experience, which all of those things change our genetic expression, how our genes express. And so from working with him, she began to watch her thoughts and to watch her words. She began meditating, getting beyond her thoughts, beyond her body, beyond her environment, beyond time, beyond that personality that was all about having this disease. She started changing things in her life. And one of the other things that she started doing as she was doing that work with him is she started changing as many things as she could possibly change. She started going to a different gym just for a different environment. She started putting her deodorant on under her left arm instead of her right arm first, so it was in the other order. She started crossing her arms with the left over the right instead of the right over the left, which was natural for her. She started sitting in a different chair in her house, sleeping on a different side of the bed. She said she was just changing as many things as she possibly could to give her body new and different signals and to move into possibility. After working with Joe for a couple of years, she absolutely healed and has no signs of that disease. In 2013, she went to her orthopedist, and he said for the first time in 28 years, there was no evidence of fractures. And her blood levels are now normal. But I love that one piece. Besides doing the meditation, besides doing that work in consciousness of changing your thoughts and moving into possibility, just doing something different than you've ever done before, or in a different way than you've ever done it before. And so the third and the last thing that we'll talk about today that he talks about in order to raise your vibration is to elevate your emotions. Well, think about it. Every time you do something new, that elevates your emotions because you get excited, you get enthusiastic. Every time you learn something new, it raises your vibration, it elevates your emotions. And so Esther Hicks talks a lot about raising your vibration in order to manifest what it is and have that actually come about in your life. And she has a list of low vibrational feelings all the way up to high vibrational feelings. And so she says the very lowest vibrational feeling is unworthiness. Think about it. When you're feeling unworthy, does that create healing in your body? Can you manifest anything in your life when you're feeling unworthy? And up from unworthy is guilt. Can you create anything? Can you draw to you that new job that you want to have when you're feeling guilty? Or bring peace into your relationship? Or more love, or draw that new love into your life when you're feeling guilty? Those other lower emotions are worry and doubt and frustration. When we're immersed in any of those feelings, it lowers our vibration, and it's harder to create the life of our dreams from that place of low vibration. In that place of low vibration, our bodies do not function properly. We take ourselves out of that realm of good. It's like we just remove ourselves from this realm of good that we live in. We cannot manifest our desires from that place because our emotional state is not an energetic match for what we want. Being depressed or feeling guilty or unworthy isn't a match for this love relationship that you want. You can't get here from here. They don't match. And so she talks about the highest vibrations are confidence and enthusiasm and fun and generosity and joy and love. Those are the creative feelings. Those are the feelings that allow us to move forward with enthusiasm to create the lives that we want. And so I have a story by Alan Cohen that talks about those higher vibration feelings, and it's called Give Yourself a Mind Lift. There's a quote from Marty Buchella. When it comes to staying young, a mind lift beats a facelift any day. It goes like this. A newspaper article reported that Cuba's unusually high number of centenarians say their longevity is a result of going easy on alcohol, but indulging in coffee, cigars, and sex. Of Cuba's population of 11 million, about 3,000 have lived more than a century. Most of the centenarians are mentally alert, did manual labor in rural areas, and had parents who were also long-lived. These findings fly in the face of much we've been told about how to live long and well. You might not think that coffee, cigars, and sex are on the approved list for breaking the triple-digit glass ceiling. But there is one factor that many proponents of health foods or austere, medically prescribed diets do not take into consideration: the joy factor. Because we are spiritual at the core of our being, it is the spirit in which we live that determines the quality of our lives. That is why the tenor of our spirit generally supersedes what we do physically. When you do what brings you joy, you release into your body life-giving hormones and chemicals. When you do what bores you or annoys you, you generate toxic hormones and chemicals that hamper your life force and diminish your longevity. So listen less to externally prescribed regimens and listen more to your own unique inner wisdom. A man went to his doctor for a checkup and asked him, "What do you think are my chances of living to be 100? The doctor asked the patient, "Do you smoke?" "No," the fellow answered. "Do you drink?" "Never," said the man. "Do you run around with women?" "No, sir," the patient replied. The doctor shook his head and asked the patient, "Why then would you want to live to be 100? Exactly! The secret of life is to be in it. Every time we feel good, we raise our vibration, which creates health and which puts us in the realm of creativity and openness and enthusiasm for life. And did you hear in that list of emotions that I read to you that were the high vibrations? One of them is fun. Every time we have fun, we raise our vibration. And every time you do something new that's fun, you raise it even more. So that's all we have to do to raise our vibration, is do something new and do something fun. And so my question to you is, what is it that you would like to do that you've never done? What's on your bucket list? Big things and small. Was there some new place you'd like to go to? Is there a class that you've been wanting to take? I'd like to take yoga. I've been saying it for a year. Would you like to learn to drive a race car? Would you like to learn to write poetry or go zip lining? Would you like to learn how to scuba dive or to cook Thai food or vegan food? What's the one thing you've been saying, or what are the 20 things you've been saying that you'd like to do? Get out there and do one of them. And so my invitation to you is to get out there and do something new. Get out there and learn something new. Get out there and do something fun. Something that makes you feel alive. Laugh and be in joy and enjoy yourself. When you do that, you get excited about life, and it raises your vibration. It makes you excited about living. So do something that is fun, that makes you feel more alive. Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind says, within us there is a creative field. Around us there is a creative field. In reality, they are one. Behind the individual is the universal, which has no limits. In this concept alone lies the possibility of eternal and endless expansion. We are here to expand. When you do that, you put yourself in the flow of life. We are here to grow. We are here to experience life with enthusiasm. We are here to thrive. We are here to live this amazing life of God that we are immersed in. And so get out of the past, get out of your box, get out of that and into this limitless life that we're living in. Activate that in your body and in your life. And as a result, you'll be changing your vibration, and you'll be changing your genetic expression. You'll be creating a life from that realm of infinite possibilities. And you'll be the energetic match for the desires fulfilled in your life. And you'll be living your best life. And so blessings to each and every one of you on this path of awakening and of activating that infinite presence and of bringing it into the world in the most amazing and unique way that only you can do. Blessings to all of you. And so I invite you to join me in a spiritual mind treatment. Oh, and so how good it is to remember and to know and to turn my attention and my energy to this one infinite presence, this field of all possibilities, this infinite potentiality of this universe, which is the creative mind of God, which is creativity itself. And so I know that my turning to it and my desires for different things in my life is spirit seeking to know itself in a greater way. Spirit seeking to unfold itself as this most magnificent life that we are each dreaming of. Those heartfelt intentions and those heartfelt longings are spirit stirring us, saying yes to us. That spirit is here to unfold itself as this magnificent life. And so how good it is to be in recognition of this right now. Knowing that we can never be separate or apart from this one or outside of this field. For this is life. This is the one. The beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega. That whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere, is this field of infinite potential. This realm of boundless good. This thing that we call magnificence itself. And so I recognize today that as we turn to it, it turns to us. As we open ourselves to it, it comes flowing in. As we raise our vibration, we become like it, and automatically it flows into our lives as good and greater good. And so today, I raise my vibration. Today and tomorrow and the next day and the next, each of us raises our vibration by learning something new, by doing something new, by elevating our emotions, And in such we manifest these lives that are just magnificent. And so I give thanks for this knowing. I give thanks for this ability to change my life and to manifest that which I desire. I give thanks for living this life that is boundless, that is infinite. And so I speak this word also right now for this country, for all of our politicians and leaders and decision makers, knowing that this same presence, that is a presence of wisdom and intelligence and love and truth and oneness, is the power and the presence right now that is revealing itself in their minds and through their actions as decisions that support and serve the whole, that support and serve the whole of this country and the whole of this world. And so I claim this, and I place my attention there, and I accept this truth. I embody this truth, knowing that as I do so, I shift this world. And so it is with absolute faith and trust and confidence that I release this word into the law that only and always says yes. And there we rest. And I say thank you, God, for all of this. And I release this and let it be. And so it is.